G'day and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is Dave and I'll be Keeper of Arcane Lore for this session of Call of Cthulhu. Today we are continuing Chapter 3 of A Time to Harvest. You can get your own copy from chaosium.com and all the previous episodes are available over on the Chaosium YouTube. If you're watching from there and you want to join us live, we do stream each Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific, although time zones are changing next week, so I'll have to double check that. We will either be 2 p.m. or 4 p.m. depending on which way the world spins. I can't remember. Thank you to Roll20 and Escape for being great tools which we use to run our games. And without further ado, we return to Tuque, Canada, where our investigators are searching for brainless people and aliens in the snow. So last session, you got the dish on your mission with Federated Oil and Chemical. And then you were told of a brief voyage out to Canada where bodies were being found with their skulls opened and their brains scooped out. 2 such gentlemen have been found so far. One already cremated, but the other body is still with the police. Your first night in town, you met with lawyer Leon Pascal, who showed you around a bit, then posted you up at a bar to get sufficiently inebriated, given that this wonderful country does not have prohibition. And our 3 heroes proceeded to get rat-assed. So as we and then go sort of exploring in the snow. So as we pick up our story, it's the next morning. Some of you are a little worse for wear. So if you could each introduce your investigator, describe how they look and how they're feeling in the moment. Art, would you like to begin?
Yes, I don't know why I'm laughing. It's just one of those fucking days, yo. Hi, I'm Art. I haven't slept a lot, so I'm a little loopy, which is great because so Seb. I am playing Sebastian McCarthy, who did not stay up all night drinking and flirting with other members of the investigative team. What I did do is go into my room and peruse eldritch terms that will eventually drive me mad. Yeah, and so I guess where you find Seb is probably at a reasonable hour of the morning. Like, he's already had a coffee. We have established that Seb is one of those people that is barely human before coffee. So he would have had coffee delivered to his room and is now like stepping out, put together, heading down to the continental breakfast that is included. Probably, I imagine, very much in like, you know, the bar downstairs, which has been like retrofitted for breakfast stuff. And will plop himself down with a couple of pieces of toast and another coffee and maybe like a bowl of yogurt and fruit, you know, very light.
It's all your very typical. I mean, this isn't a super posh hotel, so it's fairly basic. A couple of stale pastries and toast. They could definitely run to yogurt though. So you find a seat and you wait for your the rest of your investigative party to join you.
Continental breakfasts. I'd be very disappointed if there wasn't some kind of like fruit / granola and yogurt.
Yeah, out of one of those weird spinny cereal dispensers. Jackson, do you want to introduce Chaz as either descends or wakes? I don't know which.
No, Chaz doesn't want to introduce himself. Like everyone to be a bit quiet today. Just have a nice, easy time.
Morning!
Oh! Chaz Dedrick is a hunk of a young man whose insides are trying to get outside. Because he spent the evening on the Source, and he hasn't got off yet.
Turns out in Canada, you can just go up and ask for liquor, and they'll give it to you. It shouldn't be allowed.
It's true. Regardless, Chad doesn't know what a continental breakfast is, but he will wander downstairs at some point, well after the sun has risen, and demand copious amounts of protein.
Yeah,
bacon, eggs. Do they have baked beans here? I don't know.
Probably not baked beans. If they run to bacon or eggs, they're in those sort of like bain-marie warming things. And given that you're arriving as they're cleaning up, it's all the residue, the stuff that's been there the longest that's scooped out and slopped onto a plate. Sebastian's worked their way through. The toast is sitting there with coffee by this point, I imagine, as you slide into your seat. Lastly, let's introduce James playing Katie.
Yes, I'm James. I am playing Katie Wilkes, the bookworm, the nerd, who is not very used to being hungover. I think that she kind of rolls downstairs, coming out from the elevator. I'm probably about 15 minutes late, which is like 2 hours late for her. And is still like, dressed normally, but is slightly out of place instead of like fastidiously all correct with like, the tufts of hair and like is kind of doing this awkward shuffle, like she's desperately trying to hold herself together, and sunken eyes. And she'll go through, load up like a single piece of toast on a plate, lay it down, sit in front of it for 10 minutes before she can finally get up the courage to take a single bite, and then dart off to the bathroom for a while before coming back, bussing the unfinished toast and doing her best to ride out the rest of the day.
That sounds good. How has Katie gotten like significantly hungover before? Or is this
No,
kind of
I think this
time?
is a first. I think this is the first.
Oh, like it all gets better. All right then. So the three of you gather as the serving staff clear the breakfast away around you. There's a couple of other hotel guests, but most people are getting up and going about their day. Very few tourists. They're like businessmen and things that have come in, so they were already gone by the time most of you came down. Outside, snow is softly falling on the streets of Tuque, and you can see people wandering back and forth. The day has truly begun. Leon Pascal will have come through probably while it was just Sebastian, and just, helped himself to a couple things and reiterated that he's going to be in his room working on some reports, and if there's anything, don't hesitate to call upon him. He tells you again that there's a detective who you can speak to, Detective Julian DeGamo, down at the police, and otherwise just feel free to reach out if you have any questions. But beyond that, I leave it in your hands. Oh, one more thing. He will also, before leaving, pull out a map of the town. This, they had one of those, like the display at the front of the hotel where it's got like the local things. There'll be like a shitty water park and maybe a mini golf course. He went through those and found one of Tuque, which I will now display for each of you on the overlay. Can you all see that?
I got it.
You got it?
Probably.
It should be just underneath the map of Arkham.
La Tuque in Quebec.
Yep.
We got it. Yeah. So this is the region. Very quickly, there was a couple things that I wasn't supposed to put on yet. The letters. Oh no, that's just showing my screen. Ha ha ha. Whoops. So this is the map of the region. I'll just refresh mine so it goes to the right view. With a couple of pieces pinned out. There's the railroad station, the police station, the train yard. The YMCFC is the homeless center where these people had a card to. And Justine's Hardware is like a general purpose store where you'll be able to find things. It also doubles as like a cafe. So if you need to buy any provisions while you're in town, that's where he advises you go.
We got a view for our lovely chat. Because currently it's just our ugly mugs.
Oh yeah, I turned it on and it was facing my Roll20, the GM side, and so I've stopped doing that because them's secret.
Yep, fair enough.
I'll go in just a bit, but I'll leave it with you guys for the moment.
Okay, well, I might very quickly I'll share a word with Chaz, where ruefully I'll say, did we figure anything out last night?
There's a man in the street. And he tried to follow me. But he was speaking some weird alien language. I think he must have been one of them.
You sure he wasn't just speaking French?
No.
No, you're not sure, or no, you're not?
Yes.
Okay, look, I reckon we should just start from square one. Last night was fun, but it was okay. It's fine, Seb, and I hope he's not too loud.
It's all good. It's all good. We got the character of the town, We got the lie of the land. And,
Exactly.
Yeah. Now it can't be stopped.
We'll rally with you, Seb, and after what I'm sure is a bit of ribbing.
Oh, Seb is Seb is unnecessarily chipper.
Oh, perfect.
And just like, good morning, how are we feeling today?
Fine. Not fine, but we're gonna make it. We're gonna be okay.
I'm surprised to see you down so bright and early, the both of you.
I'm surprised I didn't die in my sleep.
Oh, wait. Have either of you have you had a hangover before?
Not this bad. I had one after we went drinking in Cobb's Corners, but that wasn't nearly as much.
You ever stop your mouth moving for so long before, McCarthy? You ever just shh.
Not when there's hungover people in front of me, absolutely not. I think, if I remember correctly, Chaz, we are on first name basis now.
Right.
You started it.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, well, look, let's try and... Despite how terrible we feel and how much of the Canadian dollars we worked through last night, we have
I
to
feel
try...
fine.
Okay. Well,
I think Kay was speaking for the majority of us, actually, Seb.
Oh,
I
let's
was using
see.
the royal
Majority
we.
of the people or the majority of the cash?
Oh dear. Okay, look. The point is we gotta try and make a good impression for Royal and Chemical as much as we can. So let's try and do our best to avoid Pascal so that we don't get spotted like this. And let's try and start figuring things out. So we have our angle. Our first step should be the police station, which looks like it's all the way on the other side of town. So it's going to be a long walk, but...
Well, if it's a long walk, there we go. Lost the accent for a hot sec. It'll give you ample time to sober up. And may I say, a walk in the fresh air will be bracing.
I'm sure it will be. Okay, let's...
In all seriousness, take some aspirin, have a glass of water. You'll feel better. And the best remedy for hangovers is time, unfortunately.
You sound like you're pretty experienced with it.
Had a few.
All right, well, let's do that, and then let's get on the road in 5 minutes. Get down to the police station, see if we can see these bodies and confirm everything. Then I guess the next obvious step is to pay a visit over to the YMCFC, the shelter.
Oh, right, yeah.
See if we can get some information from there.
Yeah.
Now, Dave, I might just be... Oh, sorry, I interrupted you up.
It's fine.
Dave, I might just be completely blind here, but the hotel we are currently staying in is
Hotel's not marked.
Yes,
I'm
which is
going
why
to mark it now.
It was a cool improv thing I did where I was like on the other side of town because I thought it would serve the story, you know.
So I guess now we're slapping it on the other side of town.
Yes, and
let's take two at showing the map. Yes, the proper map is revealed.
Yeah.
So, all right, other side of town. Let's. So you guys got off this train. We said you had a short walk, not too far. Let's put you here. Can you all see that? No, I'm on the wrong level. Let's try again. Here. See that red
Okay.
X? So that's going to be your
Yeah.
hotel. And then the police station is number 2, so just down here. So you'll basically do a short walk along the edge, following the train tracks down to the bottom, and then you can meet there with the police. Unless there's anything further you'd like to do, you can set out.
that makes sense.
I am going to ask what the two of them got up to last night.
We had an ill-conceived plan, and I'll explain to you our ideas and how catastrophically much it failed.
Right. And did you find anything?
Well, yeah, there was a man. He's real interested in me, but I couldn't understand what he was saying. Wasn't talking, English.
Right. Was he talking, well, I assume he was talking French.
See.
It's more likely French than than an alien language, and it wasn't that buzzing. I bet you probably just stumbled across somebody who wasn't particularly thrilled with you, either trying to share an alleyway with them or was trying to get you back home, because it was a dumb idea to go out and try and sleep in an alleyway.
I mean, what was the plan? We wanted to see if the body snatchers were gonna snatch me. Is that what we were trying to do?
Well, I
That's a
figured.
prime
remember that?
body.
I figured that. Look, I mean, it seems like the two people have died, both homeless people, and if the Migo are just snatching folks off the street, I mean, they've taken people who have a very specific use to them, and those people might have particular uses. Seb, you pointed out that people who are homeless and could kind of get tended to be looked over by a lot of people, but
Yeah, but they don't, like, they left the bodies behind. That's the thing that's actually the most useful in this context. Stick a brain inside an empty body and then have the body be indiscreet, but they've taken the brains, which is odd.
I think we should go and take a look at the bodies. And also, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think that it's worth, considering that this isn't necessarily the Migo. We've read some of these books and we know there's a lot out there. This could be a false positive. I'm not saying it's not dangerous. I'm not saying it's not alien, but it might not be the Migo.
Think there are multiple parties out here scooping brains out of skulls?
They might just, I don't know. We need to see the body before anything. So let's get on the road down to the police station and we can check out the shelter afterwards. Beyond that, if everything else fails, we put Chaz back out. Well, in the snow and hope someone comes to scoop him up.
I don't hate it. I could take him.
Especially if we've actually got backup watching instead of falling asleep.
Right. I think that's a reasonable plan. Is the alleyway that you were in last night, Chaz, is that on the way to the police station?
It was, the one next to the hotel. CK was looking out for me, so it wasn't dangerous or nothing.
Right. Why don't we take a quick look there, see if the gentleman's still there. If he is, maybe I can translate. Then at least we can find out what it was he was yelling at you about last night. If he's not there, well, no harm in checking. Yeah, just a thought.
Yeah, I could poke around. Why not?
Okay, well, let's meet there then, and then we can head down to the police station.
All right.
Okay. So you're heading out of the hotel and back down the same alley that Chaz went out the other night. Is that right?
Just to see if, the guy's still there, or like we can, see some sign of someone having slept rough, or,
Sure.
God forbid, signs of a struggle.
Yep. Okay.
Not that Seb is expecting that.
No. So you gather your gear. You've got the thick, Federated oil and chemical jackets, which keep out the quite bracing cold, and begin to step through the streets. Soft snow has fallen around, and your boots crunch a little bit once you get off the wide roads and onto the sidewalks where it hasn't been cleared or pushed away by automobiles. Down one of the side streets, you can see it's quite dark, where the houses crowd next to one another, and then you're heading towards the train tracks on the other side, where as you approach you hear a thundering crash of a car coming along it, and descending further, heading south. There's no immediate sign of people sleeping here, but there is evidence of them having done so previously. There's a little pile of newspapers and some cardboard that's been bundled up, as well as some rags and bits and pieces where someone had constructed a sort of temporary shelter in the snow. Chaz, you're pretty sure this is the one where you slept in. There's no one currently here, but you might be able to look around and ask around. You spend a little, few minutes walking over.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like anyone's here, and we're not finding a body left behind. So I reckon we head down to the police station. I don't think there's much use us hassling the locals. I'm pretty happy to chalk up what happened last night to a silly scheme that got out of hand.
Yeah. All right. But we keep an eye out, right? Can I remember what this guy looked like, by the way?
Yeah, you'd be able
What
to
are my
describe
odds
him.
of recognizing him again?
Significant. I mean, you got
my
pretty close
condition.
to him. You were drunk. He had a quite long beard and a fairly discernible, like a patch on the left cheek where it hadn't really grown in. So you'd probably be able to pick him by that. If he made steps to change his appearance, then it'd be harder. But no, under similar circumstances, you'd recognize him.
Nice.
Yep. You'd also, and if you needed to, you could get him to charge at you, yelling in French to see if that jogs your memory.
Good call. I like it. All right. Sounds like a good plan.
Okay. So heading south to the station. Okay. You make your way back onto the main street and begin to walk down, watching people come and go. Already you notice that smell, the really thick sulfurous scent, has begun to fade into the background. It's only when one of you comments on it that, it was seen so much worse yesterday that you all notice it's still there. It's just kind of faded into the background, come part of the scenery. The cop shop is a low building with a couple of vehicles parked out the front. There's a side entrance which you can see has bars across it, and it's probably back where they will hold people temporarily. But this is a lot more reminiscent of the Cobb's Corners, kind of like drunk tank / temporary. If they had any serious issues, they'd ship you off elsewhere in the region to one of the largest cities. As you head towards the front door, there's large glass doors, and on the interior there is a desk with a sergeant seated at it, working his way through the day's crossword puzzle. As the three of you come in, you notice on one board there's a large cork wall with a number of pamphlets and things stuck up. This also serves as something of a community center, so there's advertisements for guitar lessons and things like that, although principally there is also a picture of a bearded man with a message written in French on it, asking if you've seen him, and it's got the name Nathan Roche on it.
I've seen him.
One of the men who went. No, this is not
a
the
different
person
bearded
you
man.
saw. This is the
You're
person
telling me there are
who,
multiple bearded men in this town? What are they?
There are.
Oh
There are.
no.
This person you'd be able to pick is different, but this is the man who went missing not too long ago, the second body found, and they're asking if anyone knows him.
Alright. Before we head inside, I'm going to nudge Seb quickly and say, we might have to do a bit of talking to get inside here. I reckon that the line is we need to look at the bodies because we're looking for an oil and chemical agent who we think might, have gone missing and be doing it rough, and we're following up out of a sense of responsibility to our employees, and maybe check like that.
I like it.
I
mean, Seb's doing most of the talking here, so it's whatever you can spin, right?
I don't spin. I persuade.
Okay, well then maybe just ask.
Around and around my
Maybe
stick.
just say we're trained and we're professional and we want to come and take a look, and we'll be as quick as possible. And we won't disturb
lie.
anything. And so we're trained, we're professional, we're just not in the field that he would be remotely interested in.
Let's just see how this goes, shall we?
Okay, all right. I kind of think that you start walking up the stair. I kind of trot after you.
The desk sergeant looks up, peering up. He smiles pleasantly at you and folds back the crossword to put it in front of him. Says in French, "How can I help you?"
Bonjour. We are to see the body. I understand there's a man who was killed recently, and we are looking into it.
The body you're talking about, the man Mr. Roche held here. Do you know him?
Not personally, but we know about him, and we find the circumstances curious. We were hired to look into it, so we're looking into it.
Curious is a term, certainly. Listen, if you have information on the case, I'd urge you to speak with Detective Tagamo. He's taking lead on this, and he can escort you to the body if he thinks it's relevant. Unfortunately, we can't just let anyone in.
Of course, I'm happy to speak to the detective.
Okay, sure. If the three of you could take a seat, who may I say is calling?
You may say Monsieur Sebastian McCarthy is asking for him.
And friends?
Yes, and friends.
Okay, no worries. He stands up, takes note of the uniforms that you've each got on with the Federated Oil and Chemical logos, and says, if you just wait here for a moment, I'll be back shortly. And heads back. As the doors open, there's a little waft of noise as the police, just beginning their day, really, on the interior, have like gathered around a coffee table and just sort of like assigning duties and things and talking. He goes to a shorter fellow with thinning hair and very thick black glasses, dressed in a long black overcoat, speaks to him. You see him turn back and point, then the doors begin to flutter shut. Not long after, they'll come back out, and the man who introduced himself as Detective DeGamo walks out and says, hello, sorry you've caught me just while we were assigning duties. I apologize if you're waiting here too long. Why don't the three of you come through with me? Sorry, Detective Julian DeGarmo. I'd love to speak with you privately if you have any more information about this case. As I said,
is he speaking French or English?
He's speaking French.
Great. I will respond in French and say, yes, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
He does catch the like confused on the
Share
other
a
twos.
confused look to
And
Chaz.
he goes, sorry, do your friends not speak French? He introduced himself again in English. And he's pretty good. It's a bit slower, but he can speak fluent English. He says, hello, sorry, my name is Detective Julian DeGarmo. I am the lead on the case with the missing man, Mr. Nation Roche. Would the three of you come with me? I'd like to speak.
Yes, thank you, Detective.
Excellent. We're just through here. Thank you, Sergeant. And he takes you back through the bullpen towards a side office where he sits himself down. There's a map of the Tuque nearby and a couple of folders. As you went past the coffee spread, he did urge you to help yourself to a muffin and a coffee, if so desired. He also catches a glimpse of Chaz and Katie looking a little bit peaky. So he will, give you both like little styrofoam cups and push them into your hand and say, warm yourselves up. And so you said you had some information on the man. You knew him. I have to ask, are you here associated with the company? I spoke with your lawyer, Mr. Pascal, only a few days ago.
We are... I will speak in English for the benefit of everyone. We are here... we are not officially employed by the company, but we are... working in partnership with them. We are, and I just point down at the clothing. I understand that the body was found in unusual circumstances, and we have some experience looking into unusual circumstances such as these. We were wondering if it would be possible to have a look at the body to try and ascertain whether what we see is similar to what we've seen before.
Unusual circumstances is right. I've never seen anything like this in our little corner of the globe. Have you seen something like this before? Is this common where you're coming from?
Well, I'm not entirely sure, simply because I don't actually know what state the body is in. We haven't been told yet, so
Sure.
Regardless, what we have and haven't seen is more of a matter for us. All right, we're here to help. We're here to tell you what you need to know to survive. But we like to keep our experiences and what we've seen before a bit close to our chest. All right, so it's just not too many questions. I think we'll ask the questions here if that's quite agreeable to everybody. Katie, could you just give me a little bit of space? Just scooching a bit close here.
He puts his hands up because, hey, listen, I appreciate your help, okay? I'll be honest, this is a real humdinger of a case. We haven't got a whole lot to go on, and truth be told, I'm stretched thin here as it is. Moment we're chalking up to freak accident, maybe something down at the mill, or otherwise, I hate to say it, but you get some real odd sorts sometimes. I'm thinking someone moving through, and I just don't know. We don't have a whole lot to go on. If you want to help, And if you're offering expertise, I humbly and I graciously accept your assistance. Understand? Now, this is still a Tuque case, so I am in charge here. And if you want to see anything, you'll have to run it through me. But I'd love to have your assistance. And sir, please, I mean no disrespect by asking questions. I just want to know where you're coming from. Really, I think it's swell you coming out here and offering assistance. Where would you like to start? Would you like to see the body? Is that appropriate? Your man had me hold it. We've cremated the first fellow who came through, Anthony Cornett. We held it for a week, but it just didn't seem appropriate. It was only when Mr. Roche was found that we realized this was more than just the one.
Yes, if we could see the body, that would be ideal.
Sure.
And obviously, detective, we will work within the bounds of your investigation. We are merely here to assist you. We have no interest whatsoever in overstepping those bounds. So, of course, we will come to you and switches to French. Please accept my apologies for my slightly overzealous companions.
He in French says it's no issue. I appreciate their exuberance. And then in English says no harm done. We're all friends here. Hey, listen. Why don't we go through, grab yourself another bagel on the way past, and let's take a look at this body. I will warn you, it is dire, and if the two of you aren't feeling so well, brace yourselves, I suppose, is the most appropriate thing to say. Yeah, Jim.
Can I, as we follow behind him, start really eyeing his hairline, seeing if I can get a Migo surgery spot test?
Yeah, make a spot hidden roll.
Success.
He does, as I said, it was slightly like thinning hairline, and you can see that there is no sign of a scar.
Excellent.
I will, as we're walking towards the body,
one thing you will also notice, sorry, very quickly, along the wall, he, while you're in the office with that spot hidden, as you're sort of like searching him and things, you spot, he has merits. Like there's awards along the wall, not of anything like of great heroship, but like service to the community, things like that. He seems to just be like all around like kind of like just a good dude is the general vibe from like the awards at least. Yeah, Seb.
Sorry, I just love it when a keeper's like, hey, trust this one, please. Just stop. No, as we walk down the hall, I will say, you mentioned that there was Mr. Cornett was also found in a similar state. Did you, by any chance, have like a file on him that we could cross-reference to, the body that we're looking at now? After we've seen it, of course, if that could be made available to us.
I can show you what we have. It's basic to circumstances under which we found him. Since then, we didn't really turn anything up. We did a search of the area, and if you like, I can point out where we found the two bodies in Le Tuque, and you can have a look yourselves, see if there's anything more you can draw up. But truthful, I'm drawing blanks at this point.
Have you spoken to the staff at the YMCFC?
We found a card. It looked like he was staying there in the past, and I've spoken with the father there that runs it. Friendly sorts. Unfortunately, they didn't have very much to go on. Understand, not all the homeless in. The father's name is Father Dubois. He does a lot for the community here, and he takes in a number of the homeless, gives them work, and makes sure that they're not sleeping out in the cold. Of course, not everyone takes him up on that, and you will find people sleeping in the train yards and things. We don't know for certain when they were there.
Would you have any objection to us speaking with him at some point?
No. You'll find him quite accommodating. If you don't know where the Christian center is, I can point it out to you as well.
Thank you.
We're just through here. As he just before he goes through the door, he goes, yeah. Let me know if anything's too much. And then he opens the door and goes through it backwards and into the room. You go down into a small, it's basically a morgue and very basic hospital. Not hospital, I guess like first aid room, really. It's very small, and it's cold down here like the rest of the city. There's a row of steel banks where bodies can be stored. Although Ro's probably generous, they'd only be able to keep 4 in here at any given time. Again, just not a big center. And he goes along them, just checking little paper tags that have been written on the inside, finds one and heaves on it bodily to get the momentum on the steel drawer to come out. It's about chest level as he draws it back, and you can see on it a corpse with a white sheet laid across it. He says, this is Mr. Nathan Roche. He was identified by tags on his clothing. But beyond that, we have nothing further. No one in town's been able to identify him. Even the few homeless fellows that we spoke to were unable to say if they'd seen him in the past. We imagine he was only just traveling through. We don't think he's a local.
On that note, just detective very quickly, Nathan Roche, forgive me, it's not a very French name.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, is that normal here? Is that, or is it out of the ordinary that you would get someone like, with that kind of name out here?
We get a few. The mill employs a lot of people, and they don't ask a whole lot of questions. We get a lot of folks coming through looking for looking for work where they won't be asked too much, and they can stay on for a few shifts and then head out. You may have noticed when you first came into town, there's a bit of a smell about it, so it's not too appealing to a lot of folk, but it's honest pay. So yeah, we get a lot of folks want to make $1 or $2 and then head further on. Folks come fast.
Thank you.
He points out there's like a plastic bag off to the side which has his effects. There's a pair of well-worn boots inside with no laces, a pair of jeans where the pockets have been worn down so that the fingers would just go straight through, and he identifies on the back a label written in like a felt tip pen where it says Nathan Roche on the inseam, I guess is the word. And that's what they're going on for his name. It could also, he's very aware, just be the name of the person who he bought the pants from or was the previous owner. There's also a worn white t-shirt and a jacket much too thin for these conditions. Finally, he gets to the body itself, and he withdraws the covers. The man was white and thin. There is a number of marks and scars all across his body, showing a life of hard work. There's also a few abrasions along his knuckles, and he points out the fingernails, which are cracked, broken, and underneath you can see like gunk and things that have dug into it. Finally, the head. He is a bearded fellow with thick, bushy eyebrows, and then severed from about here all the way around. The skull has been removed. There are still flaps of skin, slightly uneven, that hang back, and the brain has been plucked out of it, completely missing. At this point, can I get everyone to please make a sanity roll?
This is consistent with our understanding of how the Migo operates. So it's not like, we come in and it's like a jagged cut where, someone might have ripped it. It's surgical, at least to the first gaze.
Yeah, you could make a medicine test to try and look closer.
I will absolutely do that in a moment. Just one
so success from Seb, you're all good. Katie,
as
all good.
unfazed as he always is.
I mean, it's also, it's what they said it was gonna be. Chaz, go ahead and take a point.
Just a tickle?
Just a tickle.
All right. Well, that's not good. Chaz thinks to himself. Need I say more?
I would like to lean in and start looking up and down the body. I got an extreme success, so I think that Katie's very immediately goes up and down, and she'll look up and she'll say, "Detective, would you permit me the opportunity to examine the body?"
Within reason, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. And do you have? Does the Tuque station employ a forensic specialist?
No. We've got a Mikhail back there is pretty good. We go through him for things going on that, but no, it's mostly just the boys who.
Would I be able to consult with him on his findings and his examinations, or?
Sure. I mean, he looked over the body and we tried to piece anything together, but sure, if you like.
Mechanically, I'm trying to use all the stuff that is at the police station, and the fact that we have the cooperation to try and get like advantage on the roll or something, so that like I'm not gonna have him help out or go.
To be honest, it's probably not enough to get it here. They are trying to be helpful, but they are pretty basic.
Sure.
What are you also going for? What are you examining in particular?
Okay, so here's my angle. First of all, I want to try and determine whether this is consistent with how we know the Migo operate from the descriptions that Chaz has of having witnessed the procedure being applied in the past, and if we think this is, the Migo that did this, or if this could have been, something else. I was expecting to see perhaps like a bloody tear, something like a monster did it or whatever. One of the other angles that I'm kind of working in my head is that this body kind of appeared out of nowhere. So I'm thinking that it's possible that the Migo are kind of ditching bodies, if that makes sense. This could have been like a corpse that was no longer useful to them. And if so, it could have been taken for a while and could be quite out of place. We previously have seen, one of the bodies, had been around for a long time. I want to check like fillings or something like that. See if there is dental work that indicates that they match up with where they should be, and stuff like that. Also, I'll take a quick look at the size of the body and see if this suit, this outfit, is actually made for them. Because if they have enough money to get monogrammed inlets, you'd expect that it's well tailored towards their size.
Good idea. Okay. I like all of that. Medicine will get you the furthest along medicine will get you the insight into like the cart, and possibly like able to ID them. Go ahead and do, if you guys are willing to spend some time down here and you work with Mikhail, and you can take a bonus dice, but you're kind of like going to be staying down here a bit while you're looking at that. Seb and Chaz, what are the two of you? Oh, and one more clarification: the pants weren't monogrammed; they'd like written in like a felt tip pen on the tag at the back, Nathan Roche.
Okay,
like
that changes
the
things.
handwriting's neat, but it's not like monogrammed.
No,
and super
sorry,
fancy.
I thought it was an embossed. No, my bad.
No.
In which case, I'll still check if the clothes fit them, but
Yes, no worries. So you're gonna be looking into that. Seven Chaz, what are the two of you doing?
What I'm told.
I would like to look at the files that they have to hand on the Anthony Cornett and anything else that they have essentially on the case thus far, just to peruse, have a look at what some of their theories are, get a general idea of where these people were found, just any kind of leads from the documentation they already have.
May as well not have Chaz here just doing nothing. Can we get the location of the where the body was found and have Chaz
That's what I was
across
thinking.
the city streets to check that out?
Chaz wants to walk the streets.
Yep. So
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Nope, you just said walk the streets and my brain just went Roxanne, and that was it. Sorry.
Oh, no. I've just added 2 tags to your map, which you should be able to see. These are where the body. Can you see those, Jackson?
I'm
so
sure
there's
I
a
can.
C.
Yeah.
There's a C
Yeah.
up on the top,
are.
and
Yeah.
an
Yep,
R.
yep. No,
C
now I
for
gotcha.
Cornet, R for Roche.
Roche
They
just-
weren't found in the same place. Okay.
No, they were not. Quite different places. Both off the edge towards where the forest and the mountains begin to encroach on the town. As he shows you these, he will also produce the file, which is fairly thin, and give it to you, Sebastian. They kind of like leave you here, Katie, like with Mikhail to talk and things, but like they very clearly just give you kind of the run of the room.
Sure.
For those
Yes, very, very quickly. So we should absolutely check Roche there and make sure, because it's just literally just across the corner.
It's the closer,
And,
yeah.
On our way up to, presumably it's on the way to the shelter, which is up here. We can go past the other body spot. And I would also like to propose that we go past here, and more particularly here, the other obvious places where bodies would be dumped, to potentially find one that might be
Just
missed.
say, yeah. Noting that
Go
this
ahead.
is a reasonably large, like that walk will take you like hours.
Yeah.
It's perfectly doable. You have time. You've been given weeks to do this stuff, but like, and it's stomping about in the cold. Like this is quite a wide, sprawling. Not sprawling's not the right word. all the houses have quite a bit of space between them and trees and things because they have the space. So each of these streets takes a bit of a hoof to move along. Like just
Excellent.
getting out to Roche and back from the station, you'll need to go all the like up there, across here. Like Chaz is like, I'll be back in like an hour or more probably.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Which is reasonable because that's how long your investigation can take. Okay. So Chaz, you're gonna head out to the body. Is that the idea?
Yeah, just to see what I can see.
Okay. All right. They give you the specific ID or location rather, and they will also tell you that the body's at the end of a long road of houses, and there's some businesses. There's a marker that should still be there from the investigation. We left some of our tags so that we could find it if we wanted to go back and continue investigating. Coronet's scene has been completely cleared. We're not going back there any further, so it'll be a bit harder to find. If you have any issues, is come back and I'm gonna have someone escort you.
Yeah, no issues anticipated. Should be good.
Okay, no worries. You head out, pull your coat on, and begin to just stomp up and away. So Seb, they produce Anthony Cornet's file. It's very thin, and also Roche's along with it. Anthony Cornet, similarly, was a homeless man. The body was found further to the north and under noticeably similar medical conditions. They note the same, the skull being removed, signs of sleeping rough, and he was dressed warmer than Roche, but again, just not really enough for the cold, especially come winter. Beyond that, there's very little that they're going on. At the time, they interviewed people at the paper mill, thinking that he might have been employed there, and he had done shifts a while ago, but hadn't worked there in some time. When they spoke at the Christian Fellowship Center, he had not been in there. They didn't recognize the man. So it looked as though he hadn't stayed there. The Christian Fellowship Center was found on Roche's body when they investigated him. Is there anything in particular that you're interested in or that you want to look through it? Oh, the body was found by a local walking their dog. Who was heading up along like one of the old trails through the mountains. The dog went off leash, and when they went to retrieve him, they found the body not too far from the trail on the side in a small clearing. He can give you the location of it, but notes that it will be a bit harder to find this one.
Where was Roche found by comparison?
Similarly, off the at this southernmost point, past some buildings and underneath trees, heading up towards the mountains.
Trees, you say?
Mm-hmm.
We don't like trees. Do we?
No, we do not.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, I don't think Seb has turned around and gone, oh, by the way, there is a goat lady who controls forests and has many children and murders things for reasons beyond comprehension, because I don't think Seb's turned around and done that yet. But Art knows that there was an entire section of that frickin' cult book that may or may not be my downfall, that was all about tree people and stuff. So I think what Seb is going to do is gonna read over all of this thoroughly, and we'll pull out. He doesn't have. I made a mistake very briefly. I forgot we left all the books back with Federated Oil and Chemical, so I don't have any of the books, but I do have my little flip book of all of the notes that I have been taking. So it is essentially a smaller version of Katie's grimoire that is slowly being built. It is Seb's much more fastidious and probably more like, at this point, academic / journalistic kind of thing, or more personal notes, that he's just going to start like cross-referencing those two things, the notes that he has from the books, the files, whether there's anything else to glean. But that's pretty much what he's going to spend the next hour doing, is just combing through both of those things side by side, just in case.
You get set up in a adjacent temporary office that isn't being used, and you occasionally someone will check in, make sure you're okay, but you're kind of given the run of it. Do you want to make a Cthulhu Mythos roll for me?
Ooh. No, but yes. All right, let's go.
Okay. Going through this, you again beginning to have some insight into the mythos, but you're not able to immediately conclude like whether yay or nay on any of them. All good thoughts. You'll just have to see if you can find any proof as you continue on it.
I have a tome to memorize before I get much better at rolling these things.
Oh yeah. You do have a look at the deep forested regions do seem similar to that which you saw in Vermont, and tied to the mythos entity Shubnagrath. But here they are different. They're more like evergreen and things, and much thinner and taller. Possibly a different variant could be found within. You just don't know. So you begin to go through that. As elsewhere, Katie, can you please make a medicine roll with a bonus dice? You're muted.
I'm probably not going to need it because I'm going to get this right the first time.
Yeah.
I'm going to need it but I'm going to get this right the second time.
44.
44.
40.
This is important.
It.
I am going
16.
to luck it. I'm going to luck it 16 points of luck. Okay.
20 points of luck, right? Oh no,
16,
sorry. Yes, it's
44,
a 40.
yeah.
Yes, no, that's my bad. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's not too bad. Okay. Yeah. You go over the body and begin to identify things. One, the body is consistent with having been in cold regions, Canada and similar, for a while. The pants do fit him, but they were not tailored for him. And most likely that's not his name. He probably, like, they're not perfect and he would have chosen that, or he lost a lot of weight, which is possibly also true. More likely he probably purchased them or
yeah, and someone else had named. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's a working name at least. From the you find some splinters and things under his nails, which implies that he was possibly doing some like manual labor, like carpentry or something similar. He might have been brought into like
mill
actually
work?
probably not the mill. There's not the there's no like residue from the pulp on any of his clothing and things, and he probably didn't work there. There is signs of coal. He probably was at the train station at some point and possibly traveled by rail to and from. But the splinters and things seem more in line with like carpentry or something similar, and they're also reasonably fresh. Finally, the head where it was sawn open, you believe this could be achieved with a bone saw or similar instrument, and it does seem more jagged than what Chaz described. This is possibly a recreation, or it was done in haste or with different tools. Now that said, Chaz's description of a very clean, like perfect cut is...
Did I describe what now?
When you saw Professor Learmont's head,
Oh,
that was being
right,
moved
yeah,
by
of
like
course.
a sonic tool
Yep,
thing.
yep.
Yeah, so
Under
this does seem to be
the
a bit different.
GLG building,
That's right.
the science building. Yeah.
So it does seem to be slightly different.
Okay, that is really, really good information. And as to fillings, anything like that, anything that I can pick that might have suggested that this person's body was out of time?
No, it does not appear that he's out of time. He appears to be.
Everything's standard.
It could possibly still be the case, but you don't find any proof of it.
Yeah.
Your current story, and it kind of matches up with what they were saying, was that he was probably he traveled up seeking work, stayed here for a few days, didn't work in the pulp mill, possibly stayed in the train yard, so there might be people that recognize him there, and befell some horrible fate.
Okay, this is all good information. This is all good. Manual labor, recent manual labor, or manual labor that had
Recent.
from his. Okay. So if you'll permit me before we jump off the scene, I would like to speak to the police, either to Mikhail or to
the detective is the point
the
man
detective.
for it.
Okay, and I'll say, listen, he seems that he has manual, like signs of manual labor on his hands, but there's no pulp residue on his clothing, so I don't think he was working at the mill. Do you know any other places that somebody like him might have gotten a job in town?
Sure. I mean, there's construction and similar things happening from time to time, but none that really match up. You'd probably be best speaking with the father at the fellowship center. He finds work for these folks sometimes, somewhere where they can get a paycheck and earn a couple dollars in between shifts.
That's good. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Do you have any thoughts so far after you looked over the body?
Listen, nothing conclusive yet, I'm afraid. And the worst possible answer, nothing conclusive, either confirming nor denying our suspicions. So we'll keep you up to date as best we can. Although I'm speaking out of turn here. You should speak to Mr. McCarthy to confirm this, but I do believe that the body should be fine to cremate now. We've gotten what we need from it.
I appreciate that. Hey, listen, I hope this isn't fair to me, and I don't want to come across as rude, but you're awful young for this line of work, aren't you?
Well, you know,
I mean, what are you still be in college?
I kind of like tilt my head for a second, and I'll sort of stop for a while, and then I'll say, with this kind of case, with this kind of stuff, you know, actually, it's a lot more difficult for people with established careers and established tenures to go and looking into them, just because the circumstances are so bizarre that it can be damaging to their reputation. Although it might be counterintuitive, I'm actually exactly the right age.
Hell, I mean, that's just wild. And it's surprising to me that an oil and chemical company is so involved in all of this. Just seems curious. I don't mean to pry.
No, it's your job to pry, but I can assure you that we're here to help in any way we can.
Okay, well, we appreciate all of your assistance. Please, if you do come to anything conclusive, or even if it's only suspicion, you just let me know. I'll try and get you any assistance we can. I do have some other cases and things that we're working on at the moment, and unfortunately, the powers that be have deemed this a low priority. But it's good that you're looking out for these folks.
Which is why youngsters tend to get pushed onto them. For your own mind, I think that the most likely circumstance at this stage, it looks to be a disturbed local. But if I can get confirmation, I'll bring it to you.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Or a disturbed passer through. You know what I mean? A disturbed. Someone who is temporarily local.
I'm here for a few weeks at least. All right. Keep me appraised, and I'll leave you to your work. At this point, he goes back and returns elsewhere. Meanwhile, so Chaz, you're heading out through the town. It's pretty cold out here. You will occasionally pass a couple of people walking, and eventually get to the train tracks and are able to like hop across. You can maybe find a shortcut where you're able to skip across the road a little bit earlier than you should, and make your way down towards this crime scene. How are you feeling? How's the approach on all this?
You know, I'm on the job. This is my element. Walking the streets, you know, getting a feel for the land. Yeah, this is good. This is my element.
Hell yeah.
I think
I've
I've decided it's my element. It's fine.
Yeah, it's doing something.
Yeah.
You walk along this road, heading down, and you're going past like a couple of houses. People are coming and going, walking dogs and things, but it's kind of quiet because it's middle of the day. People have things to be doing, and they're not just out in the street. You get to the very southernmost point of this, and then there is a small goat track effectively that winds between two houses. Again, all these houses are separated by little stands of trees and things. And you're able to follow this through, matching the officer's descriptions until you find a small yellow folded placard marking the scene. And then you pick that through past a bush off the side, and you find the location. There are footprints which come and grow from it, where the detectives search the area, and there's a couple of blueprints around it that possibly have begun to disturb this scene. What it is it's in between a couple of like a small stand of trees. There is a small clearing where the body was presumably placed. There is no sign of immediate blood or like tear marks or anything, but you can begin to investigate. What's your strategy?
Look around.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Sorry, you said there was no one else around? Just
There's no one here. I mean, there's like neighbors. There's houses that you could speak to the occupants of.
That's not bad. Yeah, let's start that. Let's
Okay. So
actually, I'll
you
have a look
found-
around first. Well, look around first. I'll invoke my God-given right to look around.
Okay. All right. Noted. Do you want to make a spot hidden roll?
I would love to.
Have a little sticky beak.
Little pokey, cheeky poke. I don't know why my character sheet keeps closing itself. Many apologies, everybody. Oh, nice.
Hey, that's good.
If a hard will get me something,
A hard will get you something.
nice. 3 points of luck for you, sir. Did I get
Okay,
points? I rolled my points.
I think we did
I
at
get
the
it?
beginning.
I failed. I got 8 points. I didn't add it on. So that
Slap
brings me
on.
to 53. And then I'll give you how many? Oh, I'm all over the shop today. Sorry, everybody.
You're all right.
All
Okay.
good.
You're gonna find a couple of things. One, you identify the exact point where the body was laid down, and you can spot two twin trails, like grooves, leading to or from the goat track, where you believe the heels of this person's boots are probably dragged through the ground. You find this by brushing away the snow underneath it. Additionally, with the hard success, you find along the corners, along one of the bushes where these heels would have been dragged through, there is a scrap of fabric which doesn't quite match the clothing worn by the officers. It's like a thinner black cloth. It also doesn't match anything that was in Nathan Roche's possession.
You can just say cult robes. It's all right, Dave.
Cult robes.
We know what cult robes. We know
We've
what a scrap
all
of cult
been in a
robes sound
cult.
like. We've all done it before.
The dry
I mean,
cleaning
give
will
me-
kill you.
Give me 48 weeks and I will distinctly know about cult robes.
You getting cult robes? I want
From the
cult
Cults
robes.
book.
From the Nameless Cults
Oh,
book.
right. I
Can
thought you were
you
getting.
say-
I thought you were getting for real cult robes. I was excited. We all turn up on stream one way to deep hoods and chanting.
I'm
48 weeks is a bad
Genuinely-
delivery rate for Amazon.
I'm genuinely offended. I could go get cult robes in like 2 minutes. I have some in my closet.
I
Oh,
don't
as
know.
Seb descends. So Chaz, you find this. Is there anything else you want to look into?
I feel like that's enough for me to go off. I just need to rock up to the neighbors and go, "Hey, see anybody wearing this?"
Okay, sure.
It's a
yeah,
foolproof plan.
so you grab the evidence and head back towards the street. Are you just door knocking?
Yeah,
Okay.
case in the place.
All right, you head up to a little through a picket fence and up towards the house. There's a couple of kids' toys scattered outside under a light dusting of snow, and then underneath the veranda, more kids' toys are on top of it, where they were told to probably bring it in before it snowed, but they were lazy and forgot some of them. On the door, you knock a few times, and shortly after, a woman walks up with a child on her hip. She opens the door and says in French. Something.
Oh shit! Any English?
Make a luck roll. She shakes her head and says something in French.
Anyone near here? Any English? Your neighbors English? Any?
Make a hard English
Hard
roll.
luck roll.
Hard English roll. See if you can get something through or find common ground.
They know the word English.
Yeah,
surely.
100%. I know. They're just a bit. Do they know what you're doing, or do they think you're just some like
Yeah, okay.
vagrant yelling and you're hungover, so you got the sunglasses on, you're holding a
might
scrap of
not.
cloth and going.
They might not know English because it's not the same word in French.
Onglay? That's close
Yeah.
enough.
It's
Okay, this
close,
is-
but it's not.
And this is if
identical.
Chaz can find those words.
Here it comes.
Do you have 35? What's your education?
Chaz is barely. Yeah, you should have.
70.
Then your language is 70.
Oh, so but you've done it. You've done it. Your language owner is 70 then.
Oh, I thought it was. I guess for some reason I thought it was half.
No, it's equal to. That said,
Weird.
35 is your half there, so that does show what the hard roll was.
Yeah. All right.
So as I said,
Wait, so you said
unfortunately,
it was a hard. Okay, great. All right.
yeah.
Heck.
No, she doesn't know. You can spend. So you knock on a couple doors, trying, but unfortunately, unless you want to spend longer and not go back first thing, you don't immediately find anyone that speaks English, or possibly the person that you maybe like half gesture, like maybe that one is away at work. It's just not going your way for the moment.
Yeah. Chaz is not inclined to come back and face his friends without having achieved anything, so he'll
you're gonna
exhaust
stay?
all. I'm going to stay as long as it takes me to someone who speaks American in this goddamn
Just
town.
standing in the streets. USA. All right. Okay. So you're going to hang around here for a little bit looking, investigating. In that case, let's go back to the other two and see what's going on. So Seb and Katie, what do you want to do? You could head out to meet Chaz. You kind of know approximately where he is, or you can follow up on your investigation yourselves.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
Jim.
meeting Chaz is the
there we
next
go.
step.
I don't need your help. I got this under control.
I think that we should be heading
The
up
distance.
to the shelter, and I kind of want Chaz there.
Yeah, I agree. Seb does have a couple of other things though that he wants to check. So if you're done with the perusal, if you like come into where Seb is, I can appraise you of what I have thus far found, which is not much.
Yep. I will do the same.
Great. I will watch the VOD to find out what that.
Oh, that is to say, it doesn't look like it was done by the Migo. It looks like it was done with the bone saw.
Oh.
I think it might be a copycat. Somebody maybe has figured out a bit of stuff and gone crazy.
Okay, yeah, because I got the bit about not working at the mill.
Yeah, someone who's done physical labor, and the person who's finding the jobs is probably Father Dubois. So I reckon we head up to the shelter, we go to speak to Father Dubois, and you know who also wears robes apart from cultists? Priests. So
Who are cultists,
yeah.
really?
But yeah, so
The difference is scale.
Very low hanging fruit you left there for us, Jamie.
What do you mean?
Oh, they're not cultists, they're priests.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Anyway, the point is, we
Look,
that
there's
suggests that
there's a
he's
chance-
the next stop.
There's a chance that, yeah, this is a copycat, this is a human copycat. But, well, the fact that these bodies were found in clearings of trees, there are other entities out there, Katie, more than the Migo, and there are other people who worship them. So while I do think it's reasonable to work on the basis that this is quite possibly just humanity being assholes, I'd like to still keep an academic interest in the potential for something more here. I don't want to go in half-cocked, as it were.
I understand, which is why I think that we should bring Chaz when we go to the
absolutely.
when we go to the shelter. So I think that my idea would be the next step was we rendezvous with Chaz and then see us speak French, and then we head up to the shelter.
Yeah, one moment. I have a couple of things I want to check with the detective first. Just a couple of quick questions to verify a few
I'll
things.
wait for you outside.
I mean, you're welcome to.
He'll
Stay
come
and
in
listen.
and he'll come in
Okay.
and join the two of you in the room. How can I help you?
Oh, thank you so much. I just had a couple of questions, just generally related to the investigation, if that's all right.
Of course.
You mentioned there were other cases you were looking into at the moment. Are there any other missing persons that
Missing persons? No. No other missing persons case. Or actually, these aren't technically missing persons cases either. These people were never reported. Whoever's doing this seems to be preying on the homeless.
I
People
see.
that won't get noticed.
I did notice there was those posters. Have you seen this man? Were they put up After the body was just... I see.
We've started circulating those yesterday, hoping someone might be able to identify the man. It's not much to go on, but it's something. They just say, have you seen the fellow? A artist description and the name Nathan Roche.
I see. So no one reported either of these people to be missing?
No, they were both found.
And was it similar circumstances they were found? You mentioned Cornet was found by someone walking?
Walking their dog out near there's a number of trails that go through the mountains. They can go pretty high up. It gets distant. Folks will go up there and hike. And given it's getting colder, people are taking advantage of the last few days to get some hiking in. And then Mr. Roche was found by one of the women, like a homeowner nearby. It was pretty close to the back, technically on their plot of land, not far from the house at all.
Oh, that's very helpful. Thank you. I think we have everything we need for the time being. We're gonna go and find our companion, but if we have any further questions, I hope you don't mind if we stop back in to ask.
Okay, not an issue. Need only call. He reiterates the directions to the body, and the two of you can head off.
I will let him know. It may not be necessary, but I'll let him know where we are staying so that if he needs to get in contact with us, he can call the hotel. I'm assuming there is like one hotel in town, so it's not strictly necessary, but for a sense of decorum and politeness, more than anything, so we'll be like, we're staying here, you can get in touch with us there. If we're not there, please, leave a message and we will get back to you as soon as we can.
100%. No worries. I can't find the hotel name now. Doesn't matter. So you're going to head off and go and reconvene with Chaz Dedrick?
Yeah, I am, as we sort of... How long did you say the walk was, sorry?
Half hour to get there.
Great. Seb is going to hail a car.
Sure.
If there is one to be hailed.
The detective can call you a taxi. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
That's
because Seb is not walking a lot. But yeah, as we're waiting for the taxi or as we're driving over, did you mention the bone saw to the detective, Katie?
No, I said we didn't find anything conclusive.
All right. All right.
I think that if we've got the car, we should check those other two spots where bodies could be dumped.
Certainly.
And then head up to the.
Of course. Forgive me. I'm not up to walking. Oh my God.
Oh,
why is that specific word?
No, I'm very happy to get into a car. It's cold out there.
There's no kind of atmosphere.
Let's go get Chaz.
Okay.
Let's.
You head off, and by this time it's sort of like lunch-ish. Let's go back to Chaz though quickly. Jackson, do you want to go ahead and push that luck roll?
May I?
Go for it.
Then I shall.
The penalty for definitely failing.
Are the police called at some stage?
I think it is like you are getting
not...
flagged as like belligerent American charging around. Tuque being a pain in the ass. So at this point, as you're going towards the fourth house you've tried to, one of them's been empty, the other person also didn't speak English. And as you're going towards this one, it's the neighbor of the first woman you talked to. She comes out onto the veranda and starts again in French, pointing at you, making like go away motions. Stop harassing us. Be gone, you strange man. Yeah, get out of here.
I'm just talking. I'm looking for the dead body. You know the dead body?
she like covers her kid's eye, and then she like
dead
turns around. There's
body?
a couple of kids looking at them, and she goes, "Oh, get back inside! Ignore this strange and horrible man." And as the taxi pulls up, this has taken you a while to canvass the neighborhood. The taxi pulls up. Seb and Katie both emerge as this woman is coming down the steps towards Chaz, saying, go away. Get out.
Oh, thank goodness. Seb, could you tell this crazy woman what I'm trying to do here?
What are you trying to do?
I asked you about the body that was found over there.
But I don't think any of these people speak English, Chad.
Yeah, No, that's why I'm asking Seth to tell her.
I'm just gonna leave that conversation happening over there and walk up to the lady and in French.
She's right there as well, because
Oh,
she's...
okay.
And you can now hear her in French saying, "Go away. Stop harassing us, you strange man. We have children here. You can't just walk in here and start making demands. You have to go back to where you came from. You strange demon person. Be gone."
I will turn around and just say to Katie, could you and Chaz just wait in the car?
Sure. Chaz, come on, let's get in the car. I'll tell you what we found.
Oh, sure. Wait in the car. Yeah.
You get into the car
wait in
and
the car.
the driver turns around and says something in French.
God damn it!
I have asked
the cabbies.
I've asked the driver to wait a moment and
Yeah, it's all good.
in French. I will go up to the woman and just say, my apologies for the disturbance, madame. Would you be so kind as to let us know? We are taking a look into the body that was found. Do you know anything about that? Would you be able to
This is a police issue, though. Look, we've already spoken to the detectives. If you're
course,
friend
of course.
here, I don't see what you have to do with an investigation. You just seem like kids. No offense. Can you make a charm roll? It's going to be hard.
Absolutely.
While you're making that check, I want it noted. I am claiming the title "Belligerent American Running Around the Tuque" being a pain in the ass as the title of my first album.
Yeah, Seb, you managed to
That
smooth
was
this over.
extraordinarily charming. Madame, I'm so sorry for the interruption to your day. I understand you want to protect your children, and what beautiful children they are.
Look, you've only caught me at a bad time. Okay, I'm sorry. She leans down to the window and says something in French to you, Chaz. It's basically her apologizing to him as well. She says, I just. You'll forgive me. It's been stressful. No, finding a body behind the house. I mean, any of these kids could have found it. It's horrible.
Absolutely.
And the state of it. I mean, terrible.
Was it you who found the body, or was it one of the other residents?
It was on my house. Yeah, one of my kids found something. Didn't know quite what it was, and we covered it up and called the police.
I see. That is terrible. I am very, very sorry to that.
We have spoken with the detective. We told him everything we could.
Of course. We are outside investigators, but we are working with the detective. You are welcome to check with him to ensure everything is on the up and up. Would you be willing to answer just one or two questions additional? You do not have to if you do not wish.
You can ask your questions. I will follow up with the policeman. Just can't be too safe, but you can ask.
Of course. Forgive. My name is Monsieur Sebastian McCarthy. You can ask directly about me if you need to.
I will.
You say your name with an extra N and an E on the end? Sebastian? Sebastian?
No, because
McCarthy-ian?
Sebastian's name isn't French, so he wouldn't pronounce it.
That's how you put him
That's
on
the
your
end.
side though. You francophonize it.
I think he just
Sebastian.
goes with Monsieur, which is but yeah, probably not, only because it's not too much different. But there's an accent in there. Also, Seb is okay at French, but he's not. He's not like exemplary. This is the best.
Yeah.
He's got basic conversational skills.
And if they ever start going into like advanced anything, like so far all you've done basically is like arrange, introduce yourself, and then have more complex conversations in English.
Yep.
You probably wrote a French dictionary on the train. You brushed up on words like head, bone saw, decapitate, dead body, cultist.
Fortunately, taking off heads is something that the French are very
Yogoff.
into. So there's a lot of words all around it.
Nice.
Which you can find out more if you go to youtube.com/Chaosium, which I played through A Reign of Terror, horror of the French Revolution.
Spoilers. There's a lot of guillotining.
What do you want to ask her?
I would like to ask, like, what state the body was in when she found it? Was it lying down? Was it like dumped?
I mean, it was
like
it was horrible. There was just a body flat sprawled in the mulch underneath the trees, staring up at the skies with its scalp removed. It was terrifying.
I can totally understand, madame.
I mean, I thought it was someone sleeping, so I went over and I went to shake them at first. It was only then that I saw the state of the head. Who does that sort of thing?
Madmen, I believe.
Madmen.
People who are unhinged.
In Tuque and near my home, near my kids.
We hope not, but I do not think it is. It is likely that this is something that could happen to just anyone. I mean, this kind of thing is. Doing this publicly in a way that does not draw attention, I do not think you have too much to worry about, madame. You are safe inside your homes. Yeah?
You're charming and you've kind of gotten on her right, but you can see she's definitely very, very concerned about this, knowing that it happened this close to her children, and knowing that it. I mean, you're saying she's on edge, very much so. And you can also see her. She wants to go back inside with her kids at this point.
Yeah. The only other thing that I wanted to check with her was, and I will broach this as gently as I can, but I am going to ask. Was there blood in the mulch when you found him, or was it just a body?
Yeah. She doesn't know for certain. I mean, I thought the man was sleeping when I first approached, and honestly, I saw the head. I screamed, but I don't think there was much blood. No, I mean, if a head was removed, it'd have stained the floor everywhere, right? There wasn't that much.
That is helpful to know. That means that most likely this man did not die here. He died somewhere else.
Look, it was nice meeting you. I'm gonna call the detective now. Thank you for your time. And she ushers the kids back and away, and heads inside, and the three of you can enter the taxi cab or head elsewhere. What do you want to do?
I'll get into the cab and just say, Chaz, parlez-vous anglais will get you quite far. If they say no, maybe don't push it.
You muted.
Chaz refuses to answer.
Oh, sorry. All right. Say that again.
Parlez-vous anglais.
Anglais.
Close enough.
All right. Now we're talking. Parlez-vous anglais?
I will write it down phonetically and give it to Chaz. I'll pull out a thing from my note and just write parlez-vous anglais on a thing and give it to him.
Parlez-vous anglais.
No, I spell it phonetically for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I do not spell it out correctly.
Also,
it's phonetic spelling.
He doesn't present it to them. He looks at the card and reads it.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Alternatively, I can also write it in proper French on the back so he can just hold it up.
Yeah,
I'll do both. I'm like, this is phonetic. This is if they don't understand your pronunciation and you need to show it to them.
And what it actually says in French is if you could read this, I am lost. Please get in contact with.
Please return me to the Hotel Bordeaux or whatever.
Oh, glad. Yeah, and if they say no, which is pretty close to no, that means they don't.
All right.
So you probably shouldn't push it.
And what if they? And how do you say yes?
Where?
Where?
Oh, we.
Where?
Depending on
All
the
right.
accent.
So if they say we, then it means they speak English. All right, now I got
It's
it.
pretty likely that if they
As
speak
in
English,
we
they will
speak English.
They will say yes, because they'll start speaking to you in English.
Pretty good at this. All right, good thing you were here. Well, I found this, so it was a good thing I was here.
Those look like
Wave
priest
around.
robes.
Oh.
Do they
Priest
look like
robes.
priest robes? In fact, now that I can actually see them, would that be a reasonable.
Do you frequent churches and similar? Do you have any cults?
I have been to churches, and we established in the first scenario when the Cops Corners Church was running that I have been before. Yes.
Can you make an occult roll?
Yes.
But
I
the black
absolutely
priesty
can.
robes are Catholic, are they not?
Fuck if I know. You can't confirm. It looks like cloth.
Seb, what do you reckon? Do you reckon this looks like a priest robe? We both have a cult. Can we?
Oh,
team
yeah.
up? Can I get a bonus
roll once
die
more
for
with a
it?
bonus dice
Yeah.
rather than roll.
What's your occult?
51.
Already
you're-
committed.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay,
fine.
well,
You're higher
good
than me
then.
anyway, so that's good.
Yep. No.
It genuinely, I mean, it looks like it could possibly be like a t-shirt as well at this point. Like it's a slightly thicker material. It's not like a canvasy jacket or anything. It's not waterproofed, whatever it is, but you can't confirm.
I choose to believe, and isn't that the mystery of faith? It's the priests. Let's go to the shelter via those two other spots where bodies could be dumped, and then let's try and put this to rest. I share all the information that I have, and we'll quiz
will
Chaz
talk
relentlessly.
I'll talk about the fact that that like the body was found in such a way that it looked like they were sleeping, and that there did not appear to be a huge amount of blood. Actually, we are close to where the body was found, yeah?
Yes.
So is it feasible, retcon slightly, that we go have a quick look at the area, because you said they found a mulch, and mulch is pretty absorbent, so we'd
It's like
actually
the
probably
like underneath of trees and things. Yeah.
just having like a quick look to see whether or not there are, blood stains that have been, absorbed into the surrounding mulch or not. Just
Go
as a quick look.
ahead. Does anyone have natural world?
I do not.
I
At
have
base.
above base, I think, in natural world. Does
Go to
that
make a
help?
Oh yeah,
natural
because you
world roll.
rolled like real
At
high.
Actually, no,
first,
I don't.
you cannot see any great pools of blood.
It's good to know.
Natural world would confirm if it's possibly been absorbed or something, but you just don't know really.
I don't have high. I'm gonna try.
Go for it.
Oh, that's
Oh,
pretty nice.
mate.
Wait, didn't you say
8
you had
points?
above base?
I was wrong. I said
Oh.
I thought that was wrong. I can give you 8 points of luck for that.
If you want to.
Yep. Let's do it.
Okay. Looking around, you find that there is underneath the snow, once you brush it away, there are, there's trees and leaves and things. This place isn't super well trodden. There is nothing here that would have completely absorbed blood. The blood wasn't here. The person certainly wasn't killed here. There is minor specks, which you think are blood. It's been 2 days now as well, and it's already begun to deteriorate. But it looks like it would just be, leaking, from like a already opened cut rather than the actual procedure happening.
And
Okay.
sorry, go ahead, Jim.
No. I was just saying. Okay.
Oh, just to get in my head what you were saying to Jackson about what Chaz could see. It looks as though the body was dragged from, you said like a track?
It's like a track, just like when a path of convenience forged through the tree so people could get back here, or maybe kids might play and stuff. Someone is either has it looks as though there's heel marks leading to or from that, where the body was presumably dragged and put here.
Yeah, so it's quite likely that, well, it's possible that the body was brought along the track and then dragged into this place. So knowing where this track goes is possibly also a useful thing to note. So is this one like a labeled hiking trail?
No, it's just a way that people would head back into the possibly go like a picnic or something, or just kind of muck about in the woods. It's not a formal hiking trail. The other one near old mate Cornet there is a real track.
If someone went through this area dragging like that track in through the wilderness, dragging a body, that would be quite difficult. Like moving a body, that kind of thing would be a big effort and would probably leave a sign. Can we make a track check? Can we see if we can spot anything?
100%.
Chaz, do you know how to track things?
At
All right.
base.
Well.
No,
okay.
but how hard can it be?
Exactly. All right. We'll head over. Shall I make the check, or someone else want to do it?
Chaz can do it.
All right. Feels like a Chazzy thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Chazzy. I was a Chazzy.
9 points of luck.
Take a bonus dice, Because you're being
go on
assistant, and
then.
you found the thing. Yeah, okay. Do you want to spend
that's
9
all right.
points?
I already have.
Very invested.
Shows how much confidence you had in the bonus die.
Okay. Yeah, with that, so there is an opening from the trees, which you can't help but notice, like, where something capable of flight could have descended down, but it does not appear the body came from that direction. You follow the tracks and you're able to conclusively determine that the body was dragged from the goat track into this point, and following it there, you head up the track a little bit further into the woods a little bit, but find no further signs of passage. Everything's like chewed up from the cops coming back and forth, so it's a little hard, but you do believe from your successful track roll that the body was taken from the street down the goat track, carried and dragged a little bit at point, and then pulled off the side and deposited here, hidden from prying eyes. They came from the street.
Okay. That is really good to know. So presumably
So
they had
not
a
from
car.
deeper in the woods.
They weren't just going around, so vehicle. Great. All right.
So, straight, dragged up the track a bit, and then dragged back?
No. Carried, so straight along a goat, like a goat track, and then off the goat track to be hidden under bushes.
Yeah, all right, that makes sense. Yeah, so they parked and then they dragged him under the they parked at the edge of town, dragged him under the trees and left. Yep. All right, that makes sense. So car is the big thing here.
Or, some other mode of transportation.
Yes, yeah.
Wizard
All right,
shit.
let's
Bring out
head
your
via
toy.
the other spots and then get to the
Church.
Okay.
The church.
Charge.
Given the amount of time you've spent, by the time you're heading out, it's like past lunch. Heading into like it's afternoon. People are beginning to work shifts are ending. Can you make so I guess it'd be a general, how closely are you, because these were like hidden. They were off the road and then obscured behind bushes and things. If you want to spend the time, it's probably like you're dedicating your evening, like this is probably the last thing you're doing today. If you want to search new places to guess where they might be.
No, I think that we want to get to the church before that.
I mean, you could drive to the end of the road and just look to see if you see, feet sticking out from under a bush on the edge of the road. But neither of these ones have been that. They've been off the pass and to the sides.
Picturing we get out and we spend 10 minutes at each location.
But you're just guessing locations,
Yeah,
Like
well,
I know what you're pointing at there is an entire street. Like there'd be a
Yes.
cul-de-sac and then around the edge, like 10 minutes would canvas a fraction of a fraction.
I agree. I don't think we're looking very deeply. At least I would say we don't. I would say that we prioritize heading to the Father Dubois.
One thing that's possibly worth considering, if it is a vehicle, and, purely because 1930s vehicles are not particularly well put together, there is, a chance of things like tire marks and oil stains. Like, even knowing whether there was a car that stopped here for a period of time could be helpful, but,
That's
But these are,
actually
again-
a really good idea.
But are you talking about the place where the bodies were, or just random locations?
just like, I think, because what Jim's saying is like end of cul-de-sacs and stuff, where like other pathways into
There's signs
trees
of
and
things, 'cause
stuff would be.
People live there.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get much
You can
luck
do
there.
this. You can try and find clues, but you're committing like you're. This is the rest of the day, because anything cursory, you would make so little progress. It's not gonna have weight. Like you need to spend time to do this.
Let's just head to the shelter then.
That said, you've got days here. You can spend as long as you want. You can just say we do
I
this
don't
this
have
evening.
a problem. Although I'm not much help traipsing around, but I'm certainly happy to spend the time if we do want to do this thoroughly.
I mean, even if we do find a body at this stage, I mean, we've found one, and the clues that we have are pointing towards Father Dubois. So let's go and speak to Father Dubois. That's the next step.
All right. I would very much like to know whom just so happens to have a bone saw lying around.
Yeah.
Are there any butcheries?
We'd like to
in
have a
town?
bone saw lying around.
Butchers? Yeah, there'd be a butcher.
Just the one?
Town this big, probably a couple.
Doesn't have to be a bone saw either. It could be a regular saw. Carpenter,
Yep.
No.
lumberjack.
They tend, bone saws have very specific shape and because bones different to wood
That might have been my mistake.
That is
I thought
true,
it
but
was
you
done
could've-
with a saw. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I think I told you bone saw because that would be what would happen. Like that'd be the medical tie for it. Is probably the most feasible. There's a chance. I mean, the body's decayed and stuff, and there's marks in it. Your instinct is
just
still bone saw,
pure-
but someone could have probably tried to mash it with something else. You don't know.
I mean, to be
Instinct is
perfectly
still bone
honest,
saw.
and this is just because I know a butcher. Your standard saw is flexible. A bone saw is not the same kind of flexible because you've got to and it's usually curved and it's got like very specific
But there's
teeth.
a
It's
ton
also
of different saws
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
carpentry
Like,
as
it's
well.
quite
Like
possible.
there's
smaller things. But we're looking for something that isn't like, just a standard saw. You're looking for like a smaller instrument designed for a very sort of specific, like, especially because also you said it was like was it a cut, like just bowl cut, as it were?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean I'm just thinking logistics. It would make more sense to have something that was smaller at least. It's not going to be like a giant.
Yeah,
type
but there's a
thing.
ton of different carpentry saws for different materials, so it stands to reason that it would not have needed to have been medical equipment. Medical equipment would have been best suited for it, but that's not necessarily what it was.
Okay.
what do you guys
I
wanna do
mean,
for
whatever
the
they
evening?
did, they didn't care too much about how they got through the flesh.
All right. I still think that we should head to the shelter. I think that's the next step.
Yeah, we'll
Alright.
head to the shelter.
Let's boogie.
Okay.
A
And a
word that
taxi
will not be
driver.
invented for 40 years. Oh
And
no,
Chaz
boogie is
will get
boogie
credit.
woogie. That's like 20 years. Boogie woogie. Yeah, it's okay.
You're ahead of the times, Chaz.
What was it?
I wish you weren't.
General
let's go,
madness
like-
from the back of the car.
Charleston? I don't know. I think the Charleston was around.
Let's chuck. You head north, winding through the streets, and traffic's beginning to go the other direction as folks head home for the evening. Heading towards the outskirts of town, you drive along in the shadow of the mountains. The sun begins to set. Eventually, you pull up, and the taxi driver gestures towards a 2-story building along the side, which is the Young Men's Christian Fellowship Center. It's a large terraced brick house, and there's stone steps leading up to the front door. Around the side, there is a lawn, which is mown, if not manicured, and a couple of scattered plots where at one point there might have been flowers, or maybe they intend to plant flowers in the process. It's only just beginning. On the steps, you see a few occupants, homeless men that are staying here temporarily, who have like seated across the stairs, kind of unintentionally blocking access, and playing with torn scraps of paper to be used as playing cards. They've got a couple of sets of dice towards the side, which occasionally they throw across the stone and they sort of scatter. From the interior, you can see lights are on, and other people are inside. And just across the road from this is the what's it called? The hardware store. Justine's Hardware, which is like a cafe and general store.
It's not like the only place in town where one would be able to buy a bone saw or something, is it?
No, bone saw probably wouldn't be available here.
Okay,
it's
great,
like
good.
practical. It'd be like, general
Yeah.
provisions. It's a general store
Easy.
basically,
Oh,
and
okay,
they're a
then.
restaurant as well.
Yeah. In which case, let's head into the shelter.
Well, we've established that this could be carpentry tools. So is this the only place in town where one would buy carpentry tools?
Only place? No, not necessarily. But
damn.
you probably could buy some basic carpentry and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
I might wander inside the hardware store briefly before
Sure.
we
So
head in.
The taxi comes up and we'll drop you all off and then
Yep, I will
departs.
pay the man.
It's not exorbitant, but he's been basically ferrying around for all day, so it's a decent number. But with the amount you've been given, it's neither here nor there. Sure, you head into the carpentry, the hardware store. It's a large, like, it's a big building, and it's been subdivided into smaller individual sections, but all still under the same banner. So there's a restaurant to one side, which is currently doing a pretty good business, and then there's shelving for general supplies, kind of like a big box store style. Everything's like one brand, but a lot of different stuff. What do the three of you want to do?
Well, if you want to go into the hardware store, we can go and we can set up the meeting and just say we want to like go in and say we want to talk to the father, and then if you're not going to take long, you should be done by the time we actually get in, and you can just join us.
I like it.
If that's preferable, of course.
All right. Well.
What if he only speaks French?
Well, I mean,
you would have actually. You could have been because he suggested you speak with him. He speaks English.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that like we'll go in and we'll say we want to speak to the father, and by the time that the father is ready to talk, you'll probably be done. Yeah, is the point.
And we'll also, just have a look around, get a feel for what's going on, feel for the lay of the land, as we are quite skilled at.
I mean, I'm not exactly the handiest of people, but sure.
Just tell him you want something that'll cut a head off. What could go wrong?
Plenty.
Oh, really? All right.
No, I'm just kidding, Chad.
Okay. So Seb heads into the hardware store. Chaz and Katie head up towards the house. Seb, where do you want to head to? The restaurant. There's the general sales. You can find a someone who's stocking shelves. Who do you want to talk to?
I'm gonna wander around the store and see if I can find a hardware section, whether they have, what kind of things they sell.
Hammers, saws, pickaxes, bits and pieces, kind of like general stuff, all tagged, all affordable, and at great value.
I know.
They're running a discount on sacks.
Discount on murder. Do they have a selection, like a decent selection of, again, carpentry tools, or are we looking at like your bog standard?
A decent section? No. They've got some. There'd be a couple different varieties, but no, it's nothing egregious. As you're going up though, and as you're looking through them, a woman will come along who's like stocking shelves and says, "If there's anything you need, just let me know," in French.
Merci. Essentially, I am looking to see whether there is anything on the shelves that would fit the bill of something small enough and hard enough that it could be used for amputation, that kind of thing.
Sure. You could roll survival or first aid.
I'll give you first aid. I'm better at that than survival. Though it's not the greatest of skills.
Yeah.
I cannot. I don't care enough about this to
the
give,
truth
to
is,
give
I
9
mean,
points.
Seb doesn't know. Seb doesn't really, like you said, you don't really have mechanical repair, so you don't have a great knowledge on saws and the intricacies of them. You're not sure. Any of these look like, give them enough back and forth and they get through it. You don't know how clean it would be. You haven't experienced it yourself.
That's fine.
You could ask around, but it's the extent of your knowledge.
No, that's fine. I might, sort of, go over to the lady, and just like sort of making polite and idle conversation, ask whether they get a lot of business, and are there a lot of people who do kind of home repairs, do gardening, that kind of thing. Like, is this sort of stock that goes regularly, or is this like stuff that you just kind of have on hand? But
Yeah. No, we're one of the bigger stores in town, so we sell to all sorts. If people want, something to do, repair a house, shape things up, we can sell them that. We do provide to some some of the more construction contractors, but they tend to order with us separately, and we can set up like a business account if that's what you're interested. And if you want something, I noticed you looking at the saws and things. If you didn't find what you want, we could order something in for you. We have contacts in Quebec, so they can bring things in through on the train.
Amazing. Do you I understand, and I sort of like point to the center across the road. Like, I understand that the father provides work for some folk who are down on their luck. Do you ever, is that something that you assist with outfitting those people, or are they given things as they go on their work? I'm just curious, given you're so close.
you know, the father's got a property outside town that he's fixing up, so occasionally he gives people work helping out with that. He's also in the past put them in contact with other people around, and we've sold him some gardening equipment, some basic construction stuff for his projects. Do you work with him, or I just noticed your accent.
I don't work with him, but I am curious to get to know more about the kind of work he does. My family is in the line of charitable donations, so. Yeah.
Sure. Well, I mean, you should definitely talk with him. Then I haven't spoken with him much, and he's busy, man. So I haven't really had a chance to speak with him at great length. But well, I hope I was helpful. My name's been Justine. If you want to fill out a card on the way out and let them know that we helped you out today. Howdy.
Dun, 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 dun. I freeze. Oh, I froze. Or everyone froze. I'm not sure. Okay.
I think it was just you.
We're back.
Yeah. Hello.
Is there anything else you want to ask?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
I will make my way out. Tipping is a thing in Canada, isn't it? We established that.
Yes.
So then, yes, I will. Do they have to
weird.
do they have perishable things? Like you said, this was a restaurant, right? Yeah, I'll go and get like lunch. You said it was post lunch, so I'll just go and pick up like a couple of sandwiches. Tip them generously, and then wander on out as like a thank you for both giving me information and also giving me food.
100%. Okay,
cool.
All right, you head there. Meanwhile, across the road, as Seb was first going in, Chaz, you and Katie begin to head up towards the fellowship center. The men on the stairs look up towards you as you approach, and then pointedly go back to their game, completely blocking up the entrance.
Well, hold on, Katie. I got this.
Okay.
Parlay vous anglais.
Near the two lower down keep their backs turned to you. The one higher up looks up at you and goes, "No."
No. That
Saying
means
no.
That means no. That means no. All right. See, we got.
So, I guess. Wait. Dubois. I'll yell at them. Father Dubois.
The two of them keep their back turned. The one at the top goes, "No."
I'll fumble inside my coat pocket and I'll pull out a few bucks.
You hold that over. He looks up at it, begins to shift forward, and one of them sitting turns around and looks up and goes, holds out a hand for it and goes in English, "Yeah, I know Father Dubois. I'm real friendly with him. Give it in."
I have say 4 bills or whatever. I take one of them and I'll hand it to him.
Yeah.
I keep the rest out, as in that's like trying to show that. Yeah.
He takes it. What do you want to know?
Where
I
is he?
see him.
He's inside. I can get you a meeting. You give me another bill.
Take us in, then I'll give you the bill. I'll give you the rest of the pack of this too.
Yeah, sure. He says in French something to the other 3, and they nod. One laughs a little bit, and then he steps up and goes, Come this way. Lady, there's you're not gonna be able to. I mean, come on in. Watch your steps as you walk. He heads inside. The door opens. There is a set of stairs that goes up to the second level, and then off to the left there is a large room which backs onto a kitchen and dining area. But the large room has currently got like those metal folding chairs all opened up, and people are sitting in them. About 8 or 9 folks. All they've been they're homeless men that have sought shelter here. They've all recently showered, and they're wearing as clean, like, you know, they're their clothes but cleaned, and to the back you can smell the wafting scent of dinner being prepared. They are all sitting in their seats, some like looking about and shifting a little bit, others are actually focusing directly, because at the top of it, in the standing in like almost the doorway which backs onto the kitchen, is Father Dubois. He is a very, very tall man with wide shoulders, and he's dressed in a black suit jacket over the black shirt with the white paper thingy, all tucked into a pair of pants and polished leather shoes. He's holding the Bible, and to the back you can see like some various Christian markings around the home, and he's currently delivering a sermon in French. As the guy gets in, he stands in the doorway, the folk you've been talking to, and he gestures and he goes, that's Dubois.
I'll hand him the rest of the money.
And he goes, I'll introduce you once he's done. Dubois does spot you through the crowd, and you're visibly like different. So he begins to draw the meeting to a close. As at this point, while you're inside watching the sermon being delivered, outside Seb, you get to the entrance. Their doors closed behind them. You didn't see them go up. And currently there's two people on the stairs playing, rolling dice and playing cards.
I will, I assume, is this a center or is this a church?
It's a center.
Okay.
It's a house that's been repurposed.
I'm just going to sort of stride, using my cane, but walk as sort of comfortably as possible across. Just say, excusez-moi, messieurs, and go to like walk past them and open the door and go inside.
As you move through, they as you walk past, they don't move. And then as you get up and as you get to the door, one says to the other one in French, it's a bit more, you don't fully catch it, but something like, look at how they ignore us, like we're trash on the stairs. Something to be moved around. And the other one like laughs and rolls the dice. And they don't look up at you.
It's Seb walks past.
Mm-hmm. You get to the door.
There are genuinely some things that Seb either does not or chooses not to see and hear.
Yep. You get to the doors and enter in just as the sermon is being delivered, and the three of you reconvene. The guy's still standing next to you. The sermon gets drawn to a close, and people begin to shuffle from the top. You hear Father Dubois say, everyone, you can now head through, help yourselves to food, be full, be healthy, and be good to one another. And then as people begin to go past, he like says like personal greetings and like things to each of the people going past, and then walks forward towards the three of you. The bloke standing next to you walks forward and in French will introduce, saying these three wanted a word with him. He thanks the man and then steps forward towards the three of you and says, my name is Father Dubois. I understand you wanted to speak with me. You'll understand though I have little time and I'm quite busy. What can I do for you?
He's parlaying Anglais.
He's swapped to English.
Excellent.
He speaks good English, not perfect, but good English.
I will do my standard glance towards Seb to see if he's about to take the lead.
I am happy if one of the two of you has something you want to step in with. So we'll like, wait a moment.
The read is also very much, he has not invited you into an office or anything. It is very like, this is temporary, we're in the hall.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a long meeting unless something changes.
Yeah. I'll say,
Chaz will immediately start staring down his clothes and figure out if it's a match.
Okay. All right. Do you, go ahead and make an intelligence test.
Oh, mate. Not spot hidden. See if there's
This
any
isn't because you're not
tears?
looking. If you want to look for tears on it, otherwise it's matching the material. I
Yeah.
would say it would be like disguise or something else rather than spot hidden.
All right.
You can do spot hidden.
Very good.
But you can just
No, I want to know if it's a match.
May I, because if I'm not engaging, may I also look over the clothing to see?
Like, Katie, take the lead.
Yeah,
both of you independently make intelligence tests then, because since you're not really working with one another in this one, it's.
Yep. Oh,
Okay.
Oh,
Alright,
you both got it.
that's-
That's pretty good for both of you. Well done. Both of you can determine that there are no visible scratches. He keeps it very clean and very put together. However, the material is like he's probably got a second one of these jackets somewhere, and it probably has a hole in it. Yeah, very similar.
Would is an extreme helpful here, or is hard enough to get stuff?
It's pretty similar, unless someone might have taken a jacket from him, but it's definitely his style. That said, there may also be. This is a basically it's like a almost like a blazer, but like felt, so it's much warmer. There might be other people wearing similar styles, but it is very priestly. It's got a style to it. It's probably
Just I'm like 3 points off an extreme, so
What?
don't worry about
if
it.
it's
Save him.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I'll say, Father Dubois, we're here to talk to you about a very important matter. You'll be aware that there's been the deaths of some locals in the area. We wanted to chat to you about that. Do you have somewhere we could talk in private? We'll keep it as quick as possible.
I'm very much aware of the unfortunate events. I've already spoken with the police and with the detective. I've told him everything I want to. I've answered every question he's asked me. Unless the three of you are going to reveal badges, I'm afraid I don't have anything more to tell you. Understand what I'm doing here requires my full attention, so if there's nothing specific I can help you with, I'm going to return to the people who need my assist.
We can wait till you got time. It's all good. When you're free.
What are we going to be talking about when I have time? These missing people?
Some new information has come to light, and we wanted to get your opinion on.
That's
Why
right.
the detective's not bringing this to me?
Because the detectives passed it on to us. We're from out of town. We happen to know a bit more about these kind of things. And so our
You're
questions might be a
Americans.
little bit different. Yeah.
Don't you have people that you could be helping in your own cities? Why are you coming here?
Well, as it happens, people go missing no matter what country you're in. And we found ourselves in this country, and we're going to help people in this country now.
But Father, we're just trying to help here. We're not trying to be hostile to you. We're happy to wait until you have time, but any conversation that you can give is just going to help everybody around here.
No offense, but I don't believe you are here to help. These people, they needed your help. They need your help. They need you to open your hearts and your wallets and make sure that they have the means to survive. These people, there's folks that die every winter, but it takes something like this to get some attention to it. And now you come out. And now the detectives start to look into things. If this is what you're focused on, then maybe turn your attention elsewhere. I've spoken to the police.
It's all right. We're here to help, aren't we? Gonna take out some of my share of the cash. What are we talking? $20, $30, $40? Where's
What
the
is
plate?
what is the value of a life to you?
What
But
is the value of-
as soon as you got the money out, he shifted his stance, and you see you have his attention.
I don't know about the value of a life. I just want the value of a meeting.
He is not going to be particularly helpful here. You could try like a credit rating roll to like vibe a suitable bribe, basically. Otherwise, he's gonna like basically guilt trip you until the number gets higher and higher. He also does he see you basically pull out the wallet with like do you pull out the envelope with it's only your portion but with the money in it? As you pull that out, he goes, "You clearly came to this town to spend money. Here's as good a place to give as any."
How much did I have again? We got an
a
amount.
third of 500, so about 150.
166 just
And
shy
we're
of.
probably down about a good $20.
Is there a bank in town?
Yeah.
And is money easily exchanged?
It's actually not. It's kind of
Okay.
a thing getting money across. You could start that process, but it would take you a while to wire it.
Okay.
You do not have a Canadian bank account. Your parents might, but you wouldn't.
Yeah, that's fine. And I'm assuming they do not accept not Canadian money.
Oh, it would be less valuable immediately, but they could probably take US. But again, you've been given this $500 to
Yeah.
bribe and to
Yeah, this is what it's for. All right, let's start with $50. Let's just drop $50, 50 Canadian bucks on the plate.
Okay. So you
Let's
take
see
it.
what
What do
happens.
you do with it? When you're holding the $50? He's standing there with his arms, like he hasn't like put a hand out to you. You've got the money, and he's standing there looking at you.
Well, I'm looking for like a collection box or a plate and making sure he sees how much goes in.
There's not one here immediately. This is, again, it's not like a full church setup, so there's no box or anything. He's kind of awkwardly making you bribe him very clearly, or give it to one of the homeless, or do something with it. He is not taking it. He has seen you withdraw an envelope with more money than what you have taken out. You have taken out $50, and then he stands there. And he also said just a moment ago, you know, what's the value of a human life to you?
All right, I'll keep eye contact with him as I walk around the congregation and go, here you go, buddy.
They all
Slowly parcel it out.
Yeah,
While,
they take it and they look at one another.
Father.
They look at one another and they smile, and they'll say thank you in French, and those that speak English will say thank you very much, sir. Can I get a psychology roll from you, Chaz?
Yeah, I feel a bit weird doing it, but I'm doing it.
Can I get a psychology roll on the father?
First, do you want to spend luck, Chaz, or do you want
Yeah, I
points
think that's
of luck.
worth it. I think it's worth it.
Okay.
4 points.
to? The people here are genuinely grateful. This is you're not giving them, you're giving them a significant amount. It's enough to, that's meal for a couple of days. That's a change of shoes. That's good work, and they are genuinely grateful for it. The father looks. This isn't actually.
I think he was going
It's
for a
the vibe
bribe.
of if you called his bluff. Yeah.
Yeah, he
And
was going
kind
for a
of-
bribe, and I went, okay, all right, look how generous I am.
You kind of think you kind of feel like you might have got him on it. You finish the circuit of the room and come back to him, and he goes, meeting, we can talk. Why don't you come through to my office, and we won't be long though. I have a dinner service to prepare for. And he heads past the stairs and around the side to a small room.
Very quickly,
Jim?
Seb, do you take a moment to let us know about the father's out-of-town property?
No, because I haven't had an opportunity to do that yet. and
It's
I don't
going to be
think there's-
difficult to.
Yeah,
Sure.
no, I have not. But
Okay.
I would like to get a general read on this man, for the simple reason that he used a very interesting phrase earlier on, which may have just been you riffing, Dave, but I know you prep this shit, so I don't think it was.
Never riffed in
Which
my life.
was, I have told the police everything I want to.
You can make a psychology roll. I'll also factor in that you're keeping tabs on him throughout.
Yes.
Could I make a spot hidden check to see if he has a big surgery line across his hairline?
Okay, make a spot hidden roll. Your general impression, Seb, is that he is a hard to read. He definitely puts on a face when delivering sermons, and he's definitely he is of the impression that he needs to be in a position of not necessarily power, but he is the father. He is helping out these people. He's the shepherd to the flock, not one of the sheep.
I
Katie?
succeeded. I succeeded.
He has a very thick head of hair. He keeps it combed down. Genuinely, you can't tell. Unfortunately, I'll note that down. You can keep looking, but at this point, unless you can reach forward and like pull it away or get an opportunity, there's no. He does keep it combed back. There's none here.
Yeah.
But it could be, if it's under the hair, you wouldn't see it,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yep.
Weird question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way to know whether someone is in possession of the kind of power that I have started to attain.
You can kind of get a read on people with that. I would say psychology for one, otherwise Cthulhu mythos could be to try and get a feel for people. There's not necessarily like a crackling energy, but some people want, anyone that's lived a few lifetimes, you tend to be able to get that feel from them. It would probably be Cthulhu mythos roll, and you'd probably need to talk to him a little bit more before you'd get a chance to really get a read on that.
It was more like, is that something I can even
for sure.
do? Yeah, cool. Easy done.
It's not 100%, and it's vibe even then, and some people might have particularly high power, and you'd be able to get a sense for that.
That's I guess kind of what I'm asking is, like, people with high power, if they're in any way, shape, or form involved with the mythos, I'm just going to make an assumption that they've discovered math at high speed. But otherwise it's just like, useful to know who has the kind of magnetism.
Yeah. Okay. You're walked back into a office. It's decorated with this it's racing green, the English one, wallpaper and a thick carpet. There is a large, heavy desk in the center and 2 bookcases which are empty. No books have been put on it. There is a window with a curtain half pulled across it, through which the now setting sun shines through. And a oil lamp sits on the desk, which he lights and sits behind. There is a single chair across from the desk, back against the wall, which can be pulled over. Otherwise, when you see this, Chaz could have grabbed a couple of the metal folding chairs and brought them through with you. Otherwise, a couple of you are standing.
It's Chaz with a folding chair.
Love it.
You all head into the room. He sits down and he says, "As I've said, I'm busy, but what can I do for you?"
Well, very briefly, Father, thank you for your time, and we appreciate it. And I'll sit down, I'll start to talk to him. Very quickly, I'd like to say, and I'd like to pass this off as almost incidental. So I kind of pull out my notebook and go through, and I'm like, so we have a couple of questions. We'll get through it as quickly as we can. Just before we start, very quickly, and this might not be important, but do the words Migo, Shub-Niggurath mean anything to you? And I'm just trying to peg right away whether he can resist going or anything like that. And because if he's not, it might be just completely what, and then we can just keep going.
You absolutely. However, it's not just going to be it's going to be that get out of here with your nonsense. You're taking the piss. He's going to boot you out probably pretty quickly. Because you're coming in and you're speaking it could be perceived as speaking tongues. If he wants an excuse to close a meeting and you've just spoken,
right?
It'll be a roll.
Can I attempt a fast talk check to try and make it incidental? Is the point? Because I would like, because it's more I'm kind of figuring out does this thing mean anything to you first of all? If not, don't worry, I'll get to, so I've got some other questions, but I would like to, and I'm not a particularly 100%. Great talker, but
fast talk works. I'm gonna tell you, go ahead and make a fast talk roll.
All right. Hard success.
You definitely
I can push it to an extreme.
No, that's it. You layer them in. You almost stumble across them, and you find a way to just you then pretend, oh, maybe I misspoke. Sorry. Or you try it in French because you think that you can pretend that you mistranslated it or something. You're clever about it.
That's pretty cool.
As you say both of these, he treats each like gibberish, and as if you have said a incorrect translation. He does not know either of these words.
Okay. Perfect. That is great. And beyond that, just from a standard thing, I will explain to him that we have that we are beginning our investigations, attempting to assist the police. We know that
from the beginning. But you say you're assisting the police. Who are you?
Well,
are you detectives?
No one to be trifled with.
Sorry, my friend is over enthusiastic, and we definitely don't want to trifle with anybody, yourself included. We know your time is precious.
You work with Federated Oil and Chemical, is that right?
Yes. We don't work for. We're not employed by them, but we're working alongside them to assist them with an investigation into what has happened here.
Why are they interested?
Federated Oil and Chemical. I'm gonna spin the same lie that I was going to give to the police. I'm going to say Federated Oil and Chemical are hoping to locate a former employee who needs our help, and as a result, we're interested in events that have taken place in Tuque. Unfortunately, I would rather not go into more detail. And I know that's unfortunate, but I'm under NDA. Please just trust me. We're trying to help people here. It's the same thing as what you do.
He doesn't question you on it. You succeeded the fast talk roll. He scoffs a little bit. You get the impression that he's not impressed by it.
Yeah.
And he probably thinks poorly of you and Federated Oil and Chemical, but he does not seem to question the lie itself.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I will say, so we know that one of the recovered men, Roche is the name that we're using, based on a label in his pants, was it Roche who was staying at the shelter, or was it the other bloke? Was staying here with you, is that correct?
That's right, he was here for 2 nights.
And had you organized some work for him? We know that he was doing some manual labor.
No, nothing. I saw him. He departed the day before he was found. He headed off. I didn't get a chance to speak with him in great detail.
Do you know if he had any contacts inside the shelter who might have been able to give him some work? We are aware that he was working on a construction site or something. He'd clearly found some kind of job, something to do. And we're just trying to track down that, if we can speak to who. Yeah.
The train stations, perhaps you might be able to meet someone. Unfortunately, everyone here, many people come and go. They won't necessarily be the same people that were here when Roche was here. And also, I'd prefer you... Actually, he wouldn't say I prefer. I won't allow you to speak with them and possibly make them uncomfortable with your questioning. These people here are looking for safety. And while they're in my walls, they'll have it.
That's why we wanted to speak to you in private. Because we completely respect what you're doing, and we want to make sure that this is your house.
Good.
Do you know anything about Roche on an individual level? Do you know if he had perhaps he shared a name with you? Perhaps Roche isn't his name. Do you share any background? Share any details of his life?
I don't demand that these people prove themselves to me. If they come here and they need help, I offer it to them.
I totally understand that. I just figured that as a guiding person in his life, he might have chosen to share some details with you. Anything
I did not speak with him very closely.
Okay. How long was he staying at the shelter before he left?
Only a few nights.
Right. Okay. I will start scratching a lot of this down. I'll glance left and right to my companions to see if they want to add anything before I start asking more inflammatory questions.
Are you like? Is it clear that Katie is going?
No, I think I'm just looking across. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Seb will sort of just pipe up after having said nothing this entire time. Actually, a quick question. I know that I made a psychology roll before. If I wanted to get a read on whether or not he was being upfront with us or not, is that a separate roll, or would I be pushing my original one based on the additional information?
Ooh, pushing.
That we've received? Would be pushing?
Yeah, I think so. This would be... because it was... First one was trying to get a read on him. He is kind of, stonewall a bit.
What would be the penalty for failure?
I have something in mind. It's narratively interesting.
Surprising.
Oh, wait.
Before I make the roll, I will prompt something then. To potentially, I don't know how I make this easier for myself, but
Or harder.
Or harder. I will just say, I understand, we understand from the police there was another man who went missing, an Anthony Cornett. He wasn't one of the people who was staying with you, was he?
He was not. I'm sorry.
And I will push that roll to see if I can work out whether he is telling the truth or not. Ooh, nope.
Okay. At this point, when you say Anthony Cornett, he says, I'm sorry, it wasn't. And unfortunately, I do have to attend to my dinner. The flock, those that need my help. Thank you for coming in, and I'll ask that you depart now. He stands up and walks towards the door and holds it open. As he does, he looks at each of you. He's clearly studying you, looking quite closely.
Thank you for your time, Father. Let's begin to head out.
Seb walks past him through the door, and as you do, Katie and Chaz, you can watch him track Seb, clearly looking at him very closely as he goes through the door. Then he looks back to the two of you to make sure you're leaving. You're muted.
Yep, absolutely. I will leave. Yep.
Okay,
Get
Chaz.
up and go to leave.
Yeah, but I want him to know I'm watching him.
Okay. You look back and he matches your eyes. There's something slightly out of focus. Something where someone's not really meeting your eyes, like he's looking through you or looking just not at your eyes as you walk past. And then he follows you out and through the hall and out onto the steps. The men that were playing dice have since gotten up and come inside, and it's just the four of you standing out in the cold. He stands in the doorway, making sure that you can't come back inside. And he looks across the three of you and he says, mostly directed at Sebastian, "You can get the measure of a man only from looking at them. The three of you, I don't like, I don't trust. I can see you're bad people. Good day." And then he goes back to close the door and head inside.
I would like to say something to him as he walks past, as he turns to walk. I would just say, "It is a shame you've made such a judgment of us. I assumed a man who was in the process of renovating a farmhouse out in the woods would want people with money for donations, that sort of thing. Renovations do take a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of physical labor."
He pauses in the doorway. As you're talking, clearly listens to it. His back's turned to you, so he's hard to read. And he says, and just before he goes, he hears all of it. There's a pause, and then he almost going back to what he was saying previously. He says, "When I say I understand what a man's like, I don't base that on faith. It's on science. I see what you are, and you are bad." And then he goes to the door, and it shuts behind him. There's no lock, but footsteps recede, heading back into the house. The three of you are left out on the stoop.
Well,
Was
he did it.
Was he reading? You said his eyes were unfocused.
Fuck that guy.
Was he psychology or was that something else?
You could make... Chaz was probably principally the one being studied and that tried to meet... you all had a look at him, but Chaz lingered for a moment. Chaz, you could try...
Psychology?
I could see psychology. Actually, I could see more spot hidden. That's the line this goes down.
Don't want to spend 23. Sorry,
no,
friends.
That's a big hit.
Who can
Is there
say?
anything further you want to do? Otherwise, we'll draw our session to a close. Anything you want to say to one another, or?
I think I'm kind of fade out.
What a dick.
Well, if we want to find out exactly what he's doing, he does have a house in the woods.
Yeah, let's pay him a little visit, huh?
Let's just make sure we're prepared.
Oh, we'll be prepared. He's the one who got to be prepared.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll be the ones that are gonna see.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, then, as we leave our 3 investigators on the stoop of the Young Men's Christian Fellowship Center, nightness falls in Tuque, Canada, and the homeless begin their meal inside. Father Dubois has closed his doors to you, but your investigation continues. We will pick this back up next session as you possibly go and have a little...
Yeah, we'll pick this back up next session. No doubt about that, though. It's gonna get picked up, all right?
Oh my god. I don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe you'll have a tracer out of the woods. We'll see. I can't tell you.
Look, worst
awesome.
case scenario, he's a fucking wizard and I will get some goddamn power.
Hey.
Best case scenario is a wizard, and you get some goddamn power as well. It's all wizard. It's all wizards. In the meantime,
Way down.
stacks on wizards. In the meantime, we will be back on Monday. Well, with the Stream of Chaos, we'll return with our continued Rune Quest scenario. So come there to watch some chaos being crushed, etc.
Can't see mangoes being mighty.
Mago being mighty. So jot that down. And we will be back next Friday to continue Chapter 3 of A Time to Harvest. Thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching. Catch you in a week.